Well, good morning. This is just an opportunity. I appreciate you all coming. It's really an opportunity for us to talk a little bit about the ACC Network launch that's coming 78 days from now. The ACC Network will launch. And I just want to be sure that our Pitt fans and Pitt Nation and really all sporting fans understand how to get the ACC Network. And between now and August 22nd, I think it's really important that Panther fans and people that want to watch ACC sports know how to get the network. And so there is a website. It's getaccn.com. And that certainly has all the information. It has the list of current cable providers. But most importantly, if I were you, like I've done, I would call your cable company and not ask if they're going to get the ACC Network, but demand, because every person's phone call matters. You might think, oh, I'm just one person living in, Hampton or wherever you might live in the city of Pittsburgh, and your phone call doesn't matter, but it does, because every cable company, when you call and demand the ACC Network, they're recording that. And so right now, ESPN is working with us very closely in negotiating all the distribution, rights, and the relationships with those cable companies matter. And the ESPN, they're doing a terrific job, but it will be very intense between now and August 22nd to see which cable companies pick it up. And we feel we're in a really good position, and I think ESPN has done a tremendous job. They're a great partner. Most importantly, also, just so people understand what the ACC Network will do, it will televise 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, ACC sports. So there'll be over 450 live sporting events. They'll have 40 football games and over 150 men's and women's basketball games. And so if you want to watch ACC sports, which I would argue is the best conference in the country, athletically and academically, you're going to want to get the ACC Network. And that's really what, it's very similar. We've learned a lot from what the Big Ten did. We've learned from the SEC Network, and I think this network's going to be even better.
Why is it important to Pitt?
It's important to Pitt because it's important to the ACC. And there's a number of reasons. One, exposure of our universities, all the 15 schools in the ACC, the quality of exposure that we'll have across the board, not just for football and men's basketball, but all the other sports as well. It's a national network, and so your brand goes nationally across the country. Economically, the revenue as it relates to television is significant and real, and we're behind, frankly, at the ACC up until this point. Now, obviously, we're going to catch up pretty quickly with the successful launch. And it gives our teams an unbelievable platform to showcase what they're about. It tells the stories. It gives us a chance to tell the stories of who our kids are and who our coaches are in a much more transparent way.
Can you quantify the economic impact for Pitt?
Well, we can't. I mean, we have conservative projections from the ACC, but right now it's a lot dependent on distribution. So certain cable companies will drive that number significantly. So it will, it's just a matter of who signs on and at what point. Certain companies like Comcast, they didn't sign on to the Big Ten Network for 18 months after launch. So they're a major player in what we're trying to accomplish. Obviously, they have a big footprint in Pennsylvania, in Florida, in Boston. And so, certain cable companies they're all important. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're all really important, but certain ones will really kind of lift the economics.
You had mentioned those conservative projections there, Heather. I don't know if you're at liberty to share that with us, but I mean, just ballpark.
I'm not really at liberty to go too far down that, but I think this year the Big Ten, distributed about $52 million per school. We're not going to be in that ballpark range to start. That's a little bit unprecedented because of the time and how far ahead they were of us, but it's going to help significantly in our distribution amount.
Confident in whatever you get the first year will cover everything you spent to build the studios and whatnot? Do you, I mean?
Well, it doesn't really exactly work like that. We invested in the studios for certainly to be ready for the ACC Network, but it wasn't. We're going to do this in order to pay off this project. Pitt Studios is a lot more than just helping the ACC Network. We will produce 78 live events from Pitt Studios this coming year. Not all of those will be on the linear network. They will be on the digital network, and we're required to do that. Pitt Studios has been great for our university as well, because now we have actually the ability to teach classes and kids to learn how to do video production through the academy, through the College of Education. So kids are have hands-on experience on our productions through Pitt Studios as well.
I think basketball and football will always get the attention when it comes to broadcast, but what can this network do for the sports that maybe don't get as much publicity in that regard?
Yeah, I mean they'll televise all the conference championships. So there's 27 sports in the ACC, so they'll televise all of those championship events, and it just creates awareness and exposure. And we added women's lacrosse, as I mentioned a while ago. We're hiring a coach. We got a coach on campus today. Prospective coach on campus, I should say. And but in the spring, women's lacrosse is going to be on the ACC Network, and so this gives us a chance to get Pitt's brand out there in the spring, and all the sports have additional opportunities to be exposed. And the better you are, the more you're going to be on. I mean, that's the reality of television, and so our competitive success and our focus on that is incredibly important, so we can get the additional exposure for the University of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, you said all conference championships, like including football and basketball, or were those?
Well, if they have previous agreements, then they'll be televised under. Yeah, they can always be picked up under different networks.
Well, you guys obviously you'll do live games, like you said, 78 live events. Will there be studio shows out of the Pitt Studios, like? Is there some sort of agreement for that?
We will do some segments. We'll do, we may do a series on, we can come up with our own content. Whether or not the ACC Network picks that up and shows it on the live linear network will be their decision. But we certainly can do things on our own ideas. We can put them on the digital network. We can put them, and we can pitch them to the ACC Network.
As the Big Ten's done this already, the Pac-12's done this already, the SEC's done this already. What do you feel like the ACC has sort of learned from those other conferences going first that might allow you to not have the same sort of lag build-up time that especially the Big Ten did when they did this first?
Well, I mean, we've been able to partner with the ESPN, which is different than the Big Ten Network. They had a partnership with Fox, but the reality is, having that kind of leverage with, Disney behind you is quite strong. It puts you in a stronger negotiating position with regards to the cable companies. They've built studios, and they've required the universities to invest in the infrastructure, which is a huge benefit. For example, the cost of doing a production for an ESPN game, they have to bring the truck out and everything like that. Now our production studio essentially is what you would find in a truck. So we've invested in it, so it saves on expenses in the overall production of certain events. And I think we've been able to, so I think that requiring institutions to be more prepared and understand what that production looks like, we've learned from the other conferences.
You had mentioned earlier, Heather, about there being a lag time with the Big Ten. I think it's been 18 months.
Yes.
It wasn't picked up by all the various cable companies. I was curious, because they also had the ESPN partnership. Did the SEC encounter any similar problems like that?
There were some lag time, but the reality is they had. Sometimes it's not luck, but a lot of their cable arrangements and agreements timed up to expire right when their network was launching. We're not completely aligned in that way. It's hard because ESPN has different agreements with all the different cable companies that expire at different years. So those just generally expired at the right time with the SEC. So I think we're in a good position. I mean, I don't think it's going to deter the successful launch. I mean, our launch right now is set to be very successful. It can only get more successful. if you will.
You're playing a football game at 11 a.m. this year. I'm assuming that has a lot to do with the network and wanting to get that game televised. How much has this coming network been a factor when it's come to scheduling future opponents, game times, all that stuff?
Yeah, the 11 o'clock start is definitely because of television. And, they have to get 40 football games on. And so they're trying to do 4 games in one day on that particular day. I did agree to go. We agreed to go to 11 o'clock kick. There's an afternoon Pirates game that day, so we couldn't play much later anyway. So 11 or noon. And to be a good partner to the network, I thought it made sense right out of the gate. From a scheduling standpoint, right now we're going to kick off obviously with an incredible ACC opponent. We're going to play Virginia on the network, and so a lot of the scheduling has shifted. I think it's in 2 years. I did write it down so I wouldn't forget. I don't want you guys to quote me wrong, or me to say it wrong. 2022, for example, we're going to open up with West Virginia at home. That game will be on the network. So we've scheduled certain games at certain times and as marquee matchups that the network has targeted as we want to put that on, and that's going to be a marquee game.
How do you balance that with sort of your coach's desires for whatever wherever they are competitively or whatever they're looking to get in a scheduled game?
Yeah, it's a collaboration. I would never agree to an 11 o'clock game without talking to Coach Narduzzi. And so it's a collaboration. We talk about those issues, and he's an early riser, so he doesn't mind playing at 11, as you all know. But, no, it's a collaboration. We obviously have a philosophy that we work together on, and there's strategy behind game times and dates and locations and such, so.
In 2019, Heather, with people's viewing and television consumption habits changing, how well prepared do you feel like the network is to sort of meet those, meet that changing landscape and those changing demands?
I feel that in all the conversations, we've met with ESPN, representatives and executives for 2 years now. And all of their data and information shows that there is a huge demand for live sporting events still on the live traditional linear networks, because you can't. You can TiVo it or you can watch a game day, but you already know what happened. So there's really always going to be a demand for live television. But we have varying, like Hulu's carrying the ACC Network and PlayStation View, and there's. Also, as an athletic department, we just put Wi-Fi in the Pitt, which you'll all be happy to know. But it gives us the flexibility for people to have interaction during a game on their mobile devices and to be able to watch it from wherever they are.
Now, ESPN Plus, I guess, and like ESPN3, those will be carrying all the ACC network content as well, or all the games?
No, only the ones that they pick up that the ACC network does not. Okay. So the ACC network will be its own network, and so you can watch all of these certain games. ESPN may pick up ancillary ACC games that they do not carry on the regular network.
But I guess everything that you would be able to get on the network on a traditional TV, would you also be able to get online, like as far as streaming goes?
I'm not 100% sure on that. So I don't know what you're going to be able to actually stream on your phone. If you have the ACC Network app, I think you're going to be able to watch it on your phone. Okay. Do you know what I mean? So you're not going to be able to watch it off of the ESPN app. You're going to have the ACC Network app. If you go to ESPN right now, you can scroll down to SEC, Big Ten, and then there'll be an ACC Network, and you'll have to have the ACC Network. You'll have to be able to put in your cable company's provider information to be able to watch it. So if you don't have the right cable company, you're not going to be able to watch it in a streamed mode.
But the people like the Hulu Live, that's available to anybody, sort of regardless of what cable company you have. So if this game against Virginia starts to come up and somebody's cable company is not carrying it yet, they'll still be able to have access to the game.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of a segue, as you talk about all these new ways to watch
Consume.
games. There's more and more ways to watch games. But everybody, pro and college, is trying to figure out how to get people to still actually come to the game.
Correct.
So what's this offseason been like for you and your staff finding new ways to get Pitt fans actually to Heinz Field, not just watching at home.
Yeah, it's funny. We had a retreat yesterday, and we did it in the Champions Club of Heinz Field specifically because we wanted to focus on football attendance and football ideas and generating, just a brainstorming session on ways we can improve that experience, because we want people to come. To your point exactly. And, it's been so much focused on sort of a marquee matchup, and that's the game that we all go to. And then the rest of the season is just kind of your just loyal diehards that come. And how do we make it more consistent? There's probably not one simple answer in any situation, but I would say that this year is exciting because, 4 out of our first 5 games are at home. This is a team coming off of the ACC, Coastal Championship. Last year we started 2-4. And, I know everybody was a little concerned, but I think, that team showed incredible resilience, incredible togetherness, and played very tough down the stretch. And, that's certainly indicative of the kind of coach Narduzzi is. He's never going to give in to anything ever. He's tough. He's stubborn. He's hard. That's they're not going to give in, and so that's indicative of the kind of team that he's going to build. And this year, I think the season is set up really well for us. Playing 4 out of the first 5 games at home. We got a big game on the road. We know the second game of the year. We were 6-2 in the Coastal last year. And so we have a chance to do that just as much this year, if not improve on that. The kids got a taste of what it's like to play in that ACC Coastal Championship game. I think our fans got an awareness, kind of like, oh my gosh, I want to be in Charlotte, but I had something planned. So right now, December 7th, hold the date. That's the ACC Championship game in Charlotte again, and we want Pitt to represent in there. And I think they have every shot to get there. We have great expectations for this team this year.
I heard you say on the radio this morning that you're going to improve the tailgating experience.
Yeah.
To me, tailgating is all about the chicken wings and the potato salad. But how do you get people?
I'll let Narduzzi know that. That's what you're eating before the game.
I haven't been to a tailgating party in a long time.
Yeah.
But how do you improve it? What do you do?
Well, there's for example, when I first got here, I don't know, do you guys know where the student tailgate lot was?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was way down by the...
Like, I didn't even know where it was, right? So it was, so far away that you couldn't even... I was like, why do we put the students there? Like, who made that decision? Like, why, is that a good setting? So we moved them up last year to the Clark Bar. So then, the Clark Bar lot, So this year, I said, well, it poured down rain. How many games? One too many, right? So I said, well, they're not going to go because it's totally exposed. You can't even stand under a tent. So this year we're going to be able to put tents up and make that atmosphere for students better. So one of the things with regards to tailgating, we obviously have tailgate guys on the lawn there, and that's beautiful. And those are prime spots, but there's only so many of them. What I think what I see when I go to college football games, and having done this for a lot of times and a lot of games, people want to tailgate outside of their car, and they want to put up tents, and they want to have that destination place. And right now we can't put tents up down there. We got to work on that issue, and that's one of the things that I think we can do slowly. Is because from a branding standpoint, you should drive up and get off the expressway, and all you see down in the parking lot is Pitt branded tents. You don't see that right now, right? And that creates, that's simple. It's like, I'm talking 101, but that creates the brand awareness. That creates the destination place. Hey, stop by my tailgate. If it's raining, you can stand under the tent. I don't have to be parked under a bridge in order for us to host a tailgate. Those types of things where people really feel, that's, I've always, you feel like you're taking your kitchen downtown. Well, you are, in a way, and that's a part of the social piece of it that connects people. We have a lot of fans who want to do more of that, and I think that that's important.
Good.
Most of your coaching hires, Heather, now I guess one season
Mm-hmm.
into their tenure. How did those coaches in those programs meet or match your expectations that you had for when you first hired them?
It's hard to look at them all in a totality, but I would say as a whole, we're headed in the right direction. some of them further along than others. But there's no question we are going to be better in 2-3 years with these kind of caliber of head coaches. I mean, they're just recruiting a different caliber of athlete. They're selling belief and vision, and come and be a part of building something, and that's something special under the kind of coaches that we have. We saw some bright spots, whether it was baseball upsetting North Carolina, or obviously a few early wins under Capel's tenure were good signs. Women's soccer is bringing in 22 new fresh kids. That team's going to look totally different. I've kind of great expectations for both men's and women's soccer this year. By and large, I'm thrilled with their commitment, their level of expertise, their level of recruiting. And really the expectations, new accountability that they've built into their programs and where they want to take them.
Before we get to our next question, we are at 9:26. I know you obviously have a very important appointment back on campus.
Yes.
Perhaps one and a half more?
Sure.
Break up?
Well,
One and a half more.
You're expecting great improvement with your men's basketball program this
Yes.
year, obviously.
Yes.
When that happens, what are you going to do to keep other schools away from your head coach?
Coach Capel came to Pittsburgh, and I think he's done an incredible job connecting with the city. I mean, the city loves him. Pitt certainly is very fond of him. My expectation is he's very committed to the University of Pittsburgh and wants to build something special. I mean, he wants to build something under his own name. And, it's really exciting to see where he's going to take this program. We've got some key pieces to build into it. He's excited about, he's talking to me about the 2020 recruiting class and the 2021 group. And so it's going to take a little time to get where we want that program to go. But, I'm very, he does not lack confidence in his ability to do that. So, and we're right there with him.
It's been about 2 months since they unveiled the new brand and logos and all that. What's sort of been the, reception that you've received? Merchandise sales. How has that sort of rollout carried on over this last couple of months?
Yeah, I would say that it's hard to get. There's been a serious uptick. They're selling out a lot in the merchandise. It's been very well received. I think by young people, by older generations, where it kind of connects to the past. But I think the younger generations really, really like the color. I love the fact that it ties very closely to the university, the cathedral stripe, the panther head, that's the fountain outside the cathedral. All of that, I think there's meaning and there's depth behind the new look and the new colors. It's not just, hey, we found a panther. And so, the sales have been strong and good and solid. And so thank you to Panther Nation for changing with us. And frankly, the Panther head has done much better than I expected. I was a little nervous about it because that's the one thing. I mean, everybody knew we were going to the other colors, right? It wasn't like my boss said, Heather, that's the worst kept secret in Pittsburgh. So that was no surprise. But just, the script Panthers, I think you'll see some fun things with that coming up. And, the Panther head itself has been very well. It's been selling really well. So.
I just wanted to ask you about.
Wait till you see the new helmet stickers.
I didn't want to ask you about that, but I just wanted to ask about your season tickets for football.
Yes.
I'm guessing probably not where it was last year, just because of having Penn State last year. But how are you doing right now? How does it compare to maybe 2 years ago, where you guys were at this point?
Yeah, I would say that the renewal rate percentage right now is holding steady. I mean, right now we're holding steady. I agree with you. I don't think our overall season ticket sales will be as strong as they were last year because of the Penn State game on. But it's very comparable to the previous year. And, I think the fact that we have a lot to look forward to for this football season, I think it's teed up really nicely for our program to make a run early. And get some momentum and people to come out and realize that when you come to Heinz Field, I mean, we need Pitt fans. We need Heinz Field to be electric. And it's one of the reasons why Coach Capel came to Pittsburgh is the environment in the Pete. It's not, I mean, he was so happy with what it ended up looking like at the Pete. And, it's louder and bigger than, that other place that he came from. So we need that environment in Heinz Field. And our kids, I'm really happy with the way coaches adjusted with coaches in the off season. I'm incredibly impressed with the commitment of our team and the leadership that's growing in that group. We need Pitt fans to be there and be a part of it. So that game day experience is really important for us.
9 ACC games inevitable or on the horizon?
We haven't talked about it honestly at length at all, but if it happens, we're still going to have some marquee matchups. I mean, I'm not worried about that. It would not be bad. The ACC football conference is really strong. I mean, we've won more championships since 2013 than any other conference in the country. So it would not be a bad thing. But that's yet to be, football scheduling so far in advance that it's hard to, it'll be a little ways out.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks you guys. Yeah, absolutely.